Welcome back to another episode of Crowd Control. We were off for a week or so, but we are back now, and it is Gen Con week.
It is.
But there's still...
In fact, Gen Con is like in two or three days.
If you're watching this Monday when we drop it, Gen Con is upon us. In fact, we're probably going to be leaving here right now after this to go downtown. But there's some crowdfunding still going on. There's stuff that's been going on. There's stuff that's coming up. There's stuff that's launching this week of all things, if you can imagine that. And we're here to share all of that with you. One of those launched just recently, and we do have content up on the channel for this. It is Minakshi Temple. And I wanted to bring this up on Crowd Control because if you didn't catch our content, go watch it now. In fact, we'll wait right here while you go watch it.
I didn't get to play this one at all. So
Ryan hasn't played it. Emily and I played it. I played it with Alicia. I played it with another friend of mine. And it is a very, very interesting game. Like we said in that video, it's on the sort of lighter side of medium as Euros go. But one of the things, and if you've seen pictures of it, you'll think, oh, well, that's just a big gimmick. You actually put cards and then put little meeple statues on there and then more cards, and you layer this tower up in front of you. It is a really cool feature and thematically makes a lot of sense for what you're doing. You're basically just collecting statues, getting those slabs, which are those cards, building your tower, points, repeat, rinse and repeat. And it's a really, really interesting game with a lot of variability with some of the setup too, from a publisher called Shvili Games, someone I've never
either.
Heard
this is the
of
first time I'd heard
before
of them.
this game, and I think if this is any sign of what's to come from them, I think this is a really cool start.
It's a very well-designed looking game, too. Artwork, graphic design, all of that is very good looking.
It's a cool looking game. Now, with that said, we did do paid content for it, so take what we say here with a grain of salt.
That's true.
We liked the game.
That's true. I did paid content for the one that I want to talk about, too, but there's a reason I want to talk about this one. It's Age of Rail.
Oh, no, I don't want to let you talk about... He's going to go on and
Go on about train games.
This
is the next game in the Iron Rails series from Capstone. This is the fourth one. If you've been playing those Iron Rails games, then you kind of know what to expect. This is like a bite-sized chunk of a giant train game.
Yeah.
So this is even like something you might enjoy because they play in an hour.
It's like when a dealer gives you a little taste, right?
That is exactly.
And that hooks you on the
railroads. Play the Iron Rails.
Train
now,
games.
Next thing you know, you own all four Iron Rails. Then you go in and you buy Age of Steam.
And you just got to play it.
You just got to play it. But this one, and a lot of these games actually re-implemented old train games, like classic train games that a lot of people loved. This one does. This was called South African Railroads, and it takes place in South Africa, and it does something that new, that none of the Iron Rails games have done, with a really unique action selection system, where it's almost like it feels like a worker placement game where you're putting your token out and taking an action, and every action has a time cost, and every action that every player takes kind of collaboratively moves down this timer track, and when the timer track gets to the bottom, that's when all the train companies pay out. So you have a set amount of time to just try to grab as many stock as you can and to make your train line that you own stock in more valuable. The trick is, though, that there is an option a player can trigger that stock dividend early. They can just go and just trigger it one time. So there's just this kind of tension always at the table of like, how much can I get done before it pays out its dividends? And I know that sounds super nerdy just listening to it, but it's so much fun, and these games are popular for a huge reason.
For sure. And we all are nerds. That's okay. Everything we say here sounds super nerdy.
That's true to one. I just see David stocks and dividends and buying into companies.
I mean, that doesn't sound nerdy. That sounds like businessy stuff.
It's very businessy.
But anyway, moving on to other business, the big one this week, the week of Gen Con that's landing, is Call of Duty, the board game. This is obviously a huge IP coming from Arcane Wonders, and we've had a chance to play this, and in fact, as you're watching this, we might even have a preview up on the channel well.
Gen Con is happening. So.
We are also going to have a round 1 up very soon, probably tomorrow if you're watching this Monday. So you get a chance to see it in action, see how it plays. This is Call of Duty, the board game. It's a tactical sort of combat game, but I also want to stress this, it also feels like that Call of Duty experience. So it's not just recreating sort of tactical combat, it's recreating Call of Duty. So there's respawning, all those sorts of things. And it is, in a large part, significant part actually, a programming game where you're programming behind a screen what you want to do, as is your opponent, and then you kind of play those out. You're never revealing anything, mind you, but you play those out and see what things, what happens.
I mean, it feels very Call of Duty in that aspect.
For sure.
Like very much like you don't know which corner they're going to pop around until they just pop around the corner.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do in the game that feel very much like that. Like going around the corner and quickly bringing your gun up to have that sort of like looking down the sights. There's an actual aspect in the game that kind of like symbolizes that and gives you some benefits for doing something like that. So yeah, if you want to learn more about that, go take a look at our other content and look out for our round 1 this week if you're not preoccupied with Gen Con.
Yeah, or if you're at Gen Con, they will be running demos all throughout Gen Con at the Arcane Wonders booth. So definitely go take a look, get hands-on. I do want to shout out Miss Wind a little bit. You can demo that one. It's not coming out for a couple weeks on crowdfunding, but you can definitely take a look at it at their booth as well. But yeah, Call of Duty I think is going to be one of the big games. I mean, definitely the big game of the month, and probably one of the highlights of Gen Con for a lot of people.
For sure. And another thing that we do here on the channel, we haven't done it too much, is we talk about deliveries.
Oh, we've got some great deliveries. We actually invited a special guest on today, Katia from the Full 42 podcast. If you're not listening to that, it's a lot of fun. Check it out. She's here to talk about a game that she just got.
Hi everyone, I'm Katia Howatson, the person behind Board Game Art Creations, and I'm super excited to be here this week on Crowd Control to talk about a game that got me so excited when it showed up on GameFound. I had to back it right away. I had to go all in, and I don't do that very often, but that had to happen. I'm talking about the Castles of Burgundy. I own the original. It's not the most exciting artwork out there. So when I saw it on GameFound, the special edition looked phenomenal. They added some stuff in there that doesn't come with the original, but the production of it is finally going to match the gameplay of the game. The Castles of Burgundy is still in my top 5 games of all time. It is my favorite Euro. It is such a satisfying game to play when you can get the right combos at the right time and maximize your turns. So when I saw the new artwork and the castle minis, the standard and the self-standing bags, it was like, finally, this is what the game needed to bring it to that next level. And it absolutely deserved it, because now when it's going to be on the table, it's going to feel perfect. The gameplay is amazing and it's going to look amazing. So I cannot wait to get my copy, and hopefully it's sooner than later. Those of you who have it, you're so lucky, and enjoy it, because I am sure it's just as fantastic as it looks. All right, see you next time.
Castles of Burgundy. I don't even know what that game
have
is.
you ever...
I've never heard of Castles of Burgundy. Thank you for putting that on my radar.
Oh, sure. I can see the giant collector's box with all the other boxes stacked on top of it.
Yeah, if you've watched the channel at all, you know we like Castles of Burgundy. But another game that we like is one that we just got delivered to recently, and as many of you did as well, and that's Le Grand Ha, by the way. Le Grand Ha. I think I've nailed it.
I hope
Last
so.
time we said it, someone applauded our pronunciation, so I'm sticking with it. Le Grand Ha. The sort of deluxe version of Le Grand Ha also, which amazingly delivered at least within the same month or so of Castles of Burgundy. To think that Castles of Burgundy and Le Grand Ha both got that treatment, and they're two of my classic favorite Euros.
And we'll keep getting more of these. I like it. I want to see them keep coming.
I'm in heaven. Now, with that said, I'm in so much heaven that I've only had time to play Castles of Burgundy. I haven't yet played Le Grand Ha Special Edition.
Well, we'll get it to the table.
But we've punched it. We've got it all organized. And I think probably after Gen Con, we're able to wipe the sweat from our brow. We might get back to the table and play some things like that.
Well, I'm excited too, because we just got the pack for Marvel Zombies that lets you actually use Galactus in the game.
We got a big Galactus statue.
So we got the giant Galactus statue.
And the scenario.
And that's the part. We actually got the statue early.
We had an old prototype statue for a while.
Yeah, but we didn't have the scenario. They didn't give out the scenario pack that actually let us play with Galactus. So I'm very excited to see how that changes up the gameplay with Marvel. We haven't even really unboxed it yet, but it's just sitting there waiting to go.
Yeah, and speaking of that old statue we had, if you haven't seen it yet, take a look for a short that Ryan posted that we gave that statue to a friend of ours at a local game store, and he painted it up.
I mean, like crazy.
Insane. So
and that's going to be at Gen Con too to take a look at.
Oh, is
yeah, it's going to be at their booth at Gen Con.
It's got some nice before and after images, but again, like if we said, if you're at Gen Con, be sure to go check that out.
Take a look.
If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, make them in the comments below. We'll get down there and answer whatever we can. And if you're at Gen Con, flag us down, say hi. We'll say hi back. We may even pause and say more than just hi.
We might be able to.
Yeah. Until next time, though, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.